Hello and good evening. It's Monday, 8 o'clock. It's time for another episode with the late smoke and me, Ray. And ooh, that's a very unusual sound. Give me a second. There we go. Now should be quiet. Yeah, somehow my speaker pick up some of the sound, so now should be all sorted. And there we go. I'll give a couple minutes, some people to join, and in the meantime, what we're gonna talk about today, um, the usual stuff. There will be a bit of news. There's quite a lot of interesting news this week. Not like the last week. Last week there wasn't almost anything happening, but this week there's already quite a few newses. I'm gonna, of course, talk about some of the cigars I have behind me, and there will be a couple interesting topics I want to bring in today, um, which is basically not a news; it's just a conversation, and I would be very happy if you can share your opinion as well on that one. It's a couple of controversial. Um, it's not a news. I don't know. Maybe topics. You'll see. You'll see. We'll go that to the point, and we can discuss. Okay, I've seen already people joining. Anatoly, Dexter, good to see you all guys. So as usual, I'll start with what I'm smoking. I've already lit my cigar. It's a bigger than Robusto, standard Robusto. I usually if I'm gonna smoke a Robusto, I'll lit it on the call on the live. If it's something longer or bigger, I'll lit it before that. So I lit this one about half an hour ago. What we have here, this is Dissident Rant. It's the original size of the Robusto. I'm saying original because they changed the size a couple of years ago. This was the original release back in 2020. It was 5.5 by 52 box press. So Dissident, I think I've smoked some Dissidents before on the call. Dissident is one of those very underdog brands, very boutique, very small brands. They used to be part of Oveja Negra portfolio, the people who do Black Label, Black Work Studio. They separate, the guys from Oveja Negra, they sold the brand to friends of them years ago. And now Dissident is owned by Cynthia and Joshua Coburn. They're a great couple, fun people who live in Nicaragua, and the cigars are still made by Oveja Negra. So same people who do some of my favorite cigars, but slightly different approach. The one I'm smoking here, this is the Dissident Rave. As I mentioned, this is the original release from the early 2000s in 2021. The size is 5.5, 52. Unusual Robusto Extra maybe. Now the same cigar is being produced in the new size 5 by 50. What we have here, Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, Ecuadorian binder, and mix of Dominican, Nicaraguan, and Pennsylvanian fillers. The cigar is very, very typical Connecticut shade cigar, very mild. This one have lots of tingle, spicy tingle on my tongue, on the sides of my tongue. It's very like a pepper tingles. And nicotine is almost non-existent. At least I cannot feel it. It's very, very mild. Bit grassy. I would probably prefer slightly more sweeter type of Connecticut, but it is what it is. So far, construction's halt. Um, no massive issues. Ash just drop. Yeah, this Dexter says James Brown make lots of good blends. I don't know if you guys can hear on the background. There's a little bit of noise. It's already cold here, so I have my purification on and I have my heater on, and they both make some noise. So apologies on that background noise if you can hear it. If you can't, even better. I hope it's not overpowering my mic and my speaking. But the next few months probably will be like that. It's pretty chilly tonight, and obviously I'm short sleeve because it's too hot. But because of my heater, if I switch off the heater, well, maybe in 40 minutes I'll be freezing. So no ideal scenario here. In the cup I have what they call it, a refreshing herbs mix blend. I bought this one in Singapore when I was there a couple of weeks ago. First time I'm trying it actually. I just read the description when I bought it. I was like, you know what, I like to try new different teas. This was a very interesting blend. It's a lots of lemon, lots of herbs. It's a little bit of eucalypt, green tea. So it's an interesting blend, and with the grassy cigar, I think it's a good complement. Very nice. Massive smoke output on this cigar. Sometimes this is another thing which I probably should research and maybe write a piece about it. How some tobaccos are so smoky, and others are just, I sometimes I think, especially when you smoke a Drew Estate, ligas, some of the ligas, they're so smoky. It's I can't see what's in there. Even if I have a decent purifier, it's still quite dense and you can feel it. On this one here, there's no broadleaf, there's no sound. There's a little bit of Pennsylvania and a filler, but this is a massive smoke output. So I need to find out, maybe talk with some interesting people, why some tobacco smoke more than the other when it burns. Is there specific characteristics on a specific tobacco or blend, or is just purely random? But this is a topic of research in a further investigations. Okay, so as I mentioned, there's quite a few newses. So I'm thinking, shall I start with the news section, and when I finish the news section, to bring on those two topics which I want to discuss, and I want to get your opinion. Maybe there'll be more people watching, but let's do that one. Let's talk about the news, and then I'm gonna bring what I want to discuss with you guys. Hopefully there will be more people joining. Even if not, it's fine. Right. The first piece of news I want to mention, I want to talk about. Last week, La Flor Dominicana announced they added a few new sizes, few new vitolas to one of their vitolas. I'm laughing here because last night and actually few days in a row I was watching some other Zoom, some other people doing their lives and stuff, and couple of people mentioning, when you mention vitola, couple of people pronounce it vitolas, which I don't think is correct. And those people in the cigar industry, I mean, they work in the cigar industry, and I'm always speaking and say, if it's someone outside who is not in the industry, not in the business, okay, pronunciations can be whatever, like Olivia cigars and Oliva. What was very often people mistaking it. Anyway, but if you're in the industry, you should be able to pronounce the brands correct, and not the brands, only the terminologies. And Vitola is Vitola, it's not Vitola or anything like that. And sometimes, I know it might be just I'm too picky or whatever, but if you're gonna use the right terminology, use the right terminology. I believe in every industry should be like that. If you're someone outsider, just a fan, yeah, you can say whatever you want. Even I watched a recent interview with Zaya from El Septimo, and he keep referring Fuente as a Fonte, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know if he on purpose called him Fonte. It's not Fuente, just called him Fonte, which I don't know. It's not that hard to pronounce it. Fuente is Fuente, not Fonte, and with the Vitola is Vitola, not Vitola. Anyway, this was just on the side of what we're going to talk about. But yeah, La Flor Dominicana announced a few different vitolas and sizes in the Oro line, which is super cool because I'm a huge fan of the Oro. La Flor Dominicana Oro is a very complex cigar, well balanced. I can recommend it for anyone, experienced, beginner, doesn't matter. One of the sizes I used to sell a lot, one of the cigars I used to sell a lot when I was in retail. And now they are in actually smaller sizes and bigger, smaller and bigger sizes. So far, La Flor Dominicana was a very nice chisel. Came in a nice golden tube in a small box of 5. Now they are in 3 new sizes, which number. They're actually numbers on them. There's no. They won't call them robusto, whatever. They're number 5, number 7, number 8. Number 5, it's beautiful 6x48, which you can call it Lonsdale, or it's not short Churchill. I mean, effectively, it's a slightly shorter Churchill, but when you say short Churchill, people think of a Robusto. They bring in number 7 will be 7.5 by 52, which effectively is a double Corona in my opinion. And number 8 will be 7 by 60. It's massive chunky, but this is a very standard size for La Flor Dominicana. They did a double hero in this size. They did Airbender. They did a bunch of different cigars in 7 by 60. It looks like is a popular size with them. They actually bring in the boxes now to 20 counts, not like 5 counts with the tubes before. Price wise, between $16 and $19. I wish to be a little bit less than that, but I guess it's one of the hardest cigars to make. Maybe they use some kind of more rare tobacco. Who knows? It's still under $20 for me. It's still okay. I'm not gonna make a big issue on that one. La Flor Dominicana will establish brand, so they know what they're doing. I hope so. Dexter says probably on purpose with him. I mean, I don't know. The guy is a character. Maybe he's on purpose, maybe no. Who knows? Right. Moving on to the next release. There's quite a few releases, but I think this will be quite a lot of those before the end of the year. So now, literally a few days ago, Plasencia announced the release of the new Chinese Zodiac cigar, or Plasencia El Año del Caballo, which is Year of the Horse. Usually Plasencia for me, a little bit, they want to play in the game with those annual releases of the Chinese Zodiac, but so far most of the Plasencias I've smoked, which are part of the Zodiac. I haven't smoked them all, but I smoked 2 or 3. They didn't impress me, and they have a hefty price tag. They're usually around $50-$60, and I just don't understand why. I think here the competition is predominantly with Davidoff. So Plasencia, which is distributed by Davidoff most of the countries around the world, they enter in their own competition with Davidoff about those year or something. The Davidoff releases are still more expensive, but I think they're more interesting. This year announced their cigar before Davidoff, which will be very interesting because the cigar itself, it's a very, very unique. So it's a pretty much the cigar is a standard Toro, nothing crazy, just a little bit longer. 758. I mean, it's not 758. I mean, okay, call it double Corona. Toro double Corona mix, something like that. I mean, this is one of those weird sizes. 758. What do you call it? Toro Gordo, or you call it double Corona / Gordo. But the interesting thing is the cigar. Literally, the front of the cigar have approximately 2 to 3 inches of braided leaves of tobacco, which look like a braided horse tail. Unique feature. I mean, with all those cigars, Davidoff started the idea to cigars to be a little bit different. They create the spotted cigars, they create the shaggy foot and the Lancero, the culebras, and etc. So now Plasencia is bringing the Year of the Horse with this plat, with this braided tobacco, which is not. I mean, I haven't seen braided plat in front, but I've seen a very long piece of tobacco on Espinosas when they released the 601 La Bomba. They have this like a wick in front of the cigar, and they were the first one I've seen they do something like that as a release. Then Sinistro did something similar, adding that kind of piece of tobacco just for decoration. Now Plasencia, so I'm very curious because Davidoff hasn't released any information about the Year of the Horse yet, which I believe will be announced in the next couple of weeks. But we'll be very, very curious to see if Davidoff release that kind of looking cigar, the same as Plasencia. That will be very interesting. Maybe that can cause some conflicts. Who knows? I doubt. I mean, they're very close companies. They work together a lot. So, but still, will be very interesting. I'm pretty sure Davidoff are not very happy with that. The Plasencia was the first one to release this cigar with the plat. And even if Davidoff planning to release something like that with the braided tobacco, they will release it like that because they wouldn't have a time to change everything now. I mean, if they announce the release, they probably already shipped the cigars. So we'll see. Dexter says Davidoff went to war with Gurkha over similar cigars. I think was actually opposite way. I think Gurkha was the one which initiate seeds and disease and some court issues with Davidoff over those Year of the Dragon, Year of the whatever Chinese Zodiac cigars. I don't think Davidoff started that one. They defend themselves, and I think they managed to find the solution out of the court. Maybe one of the companies paid to the other one big chunk of money. I have no idea who paid who. Yeah, I think Plasencia are more on the safe bet here. I don't think they will have some legal issues because they don't call it Year of the Horse. They call it with the Spanish name El Año del Caballo, so which is Year of the Horse in Spanish effectively. So I think that's why they play on the safe bet. If they will name it Year of the Horse, they might have some issues with some companies, but El Año del Caballo, I don't know if anyone's referring to that. Even the second band on the foot of the Plasencia says El Año del Caballo, even on the main band. I mean, it's written on few of the bands. If they do that one, I don't think anyone will go after them. They probably check what they can put on and they put it on. But we'll see. It will be very expensive cigar. I doubt I'm gonna go after some of them. Time will see. Time will show. Right. Now we're moving on to another release. This time, there's actually official information on a brand called Juan Lopez, which will be distributed by JR in the US, which been part of the Alto Dis for ages. So that's Juan Lopez is why I'm mentioning. I mean, usually I wouldn't go deep for some of those releases, but this is interesting because Juan Lopez is already existing Cuban brand. I mean, probably some of the people already know, some of the viewers. Juan Lopez is one of those not so popular, not mainstream Cuban brands. They've been part of the portfolio for many, many years. They are more well known with the original releases. I think in the standard portfolio, I think there's only two existing lines: Juan Lopez number 2 and Juan Lopez number 1 and number 2. I don't think there's any other from the core line. Everything else is just original releases, LCDH releases, etc. But I've never heard of non-Cuban version of this brand. You know, there's so many non-Cuban. Pretty much almost every brand have non-Cuban one. Even we're gonna talk about one of those later. But I haven't heard of Juan Lopez to have his copycat version, and now apparently they have. and they have like relaunched the stuff, changed the packaging. The cigars are produced by La Isla in DR, which is becoming one of those new wunderkinds, new crazy kids in the industry, where they're making so many cigars for so many people. Um, of course, I don't think that will affect the normal Cuban Juan Lopez. Those guys can say, "Oh, we registered first," but still, I mean, one thing I just no, I'm not pissed off or angry, but it's just for me it doesn't make any sense for alters in all those countries where they registered all those cigars with the same names: Monte Cristo, Romeo and Juliet, Juan Lopez now, and we can carry on. H. Upman, Hoy de Monterrey, Cuiva. Why they think they can get away with that? I mean, obviously nobody can stop them. They're American companies. They do it in America, but clearly there's a brand which been on the market since 18 something. Juan Lopez in this case 1870s. So in America in 1870s, I don't think there's any company except maybe Jason Newman, which is still on the. Jason Newman even started later. I don't think there's any American company which has been around in 1870s, 1880s, and 1900s, and they just producing cigar with the same name. It's just, I don't know. Americans always, proud. We did that, we did that, we did that. But in this case, you just copy the names and hope you can sell more. Maybe that's how they start. Nowadays, might be a little bit different, but came up with your names. Why do you need to use the names of the other people, even if they haven't registered them? It's not like an argument of the sake of a year. They were first with like 6 months, or we have the same idea. No, clearly Cubans have 100 years advance than you guys. So they use the name 100 years before you even touch it. So someone just take the name and say, okay, we'll copy those guys. I don't know. It doesn't seem okay for me. I'll never understand it. Even if they try to go to courts and, we registered first. We give a shit about that. I mean, you registered first, but they're using the name for 100 years before that. So respect that one. Anyway, there's always a little bit of rant of me, and this was one of the rants I'm going to do tonight on the Juan Lopez. They might be a good cigar, just don't use the name. And also on the band, on the non-Cuban Juan Lopez's, they put the year 1876. I don't think. I mean, they start adding those years for some reason. Okay, to maybe the band to be different. They did it on H. Upman, on Hoyu, and they change the year slightly different. So on H. Upman they had 1844. Officially, H. Upman started in 1845. The American version says 44, then they says 45. So now on this Juan Lopez they say 1876. So what's 1876? You started the brand in 1876? I doubt. If there's no official information, some of the book says 1876, but the most prominent information, the most official information says somewhere in the 70s, in 1870s. So basically, they didn't specify which 1870. It says just in 1870s, and I don't know. It doesn't feel right. Maybe it's just me. I don't know, but I'm a bit of a nostalgic. I like when you have history of something and somebody tried to ruin your history with slacking and stuff like that, adding stuff like that, and creating something. Oh, we will register it first. Right? It's not a year difference. We're talking about 100 years difference. No integrity in business. A rant is warranted. Well, I mean, it's just me. Again, maybe this is my point. You don't need to agree. I'm absolutely fine if you disagree with me. I just don't seem this to be right. Next piece of news and another piece of rant. There's a new St. DuPont Opus X Haute creation. Oh my gosh. Where to start? If you haven't seen, Google. Seen them. There's a new Opus X DuPont lighters. And the prices, oh gosh. DuPont Defi Extreme usually sell for about $400. It's one of the most reliable DuPonts. I think if you ask people who use DuPont only predominantly, the Defi Extreme is one of those super popular, not crazy expensive. I mean, 400 is still very expensive, but it's not in the thousands or tens of thousands. Now, with the brand of Fuente and Opus X, this lighter will be MSRP for $2,500. So you put two pieces of metal on top on the cigar on the lighter, and it costs 5 times more. Not even double the price. 5 times more. I don't know. Gold-plated finish. Is it though? I don't know. Something's wrong here. Then we'll carry on. I'm just looking at the numbers because I don't want to remember all those numbers. But line 2, probably one of the most iconic DuPonts. One of those crazy, nice-looking DuPonts with the open and twist and everything. Usually line 2, I believe it starts around 1,000 for a normal, without any crazy lacquers and everything. So this one, with those pieces of metal on both sides, 5,600 MSRP, because they're only 288 numbers. There will be probably quite a chunk on top of that. Again, 5 times more. We carry on. Legrand. Probably this is like the top of the top. Legrand is the most expensive fancy flash standard production cigar. The Legrand is usually 1,500 to 2,000, depending what kind of lacquer. Okay, I've seen some with a few more thousand on top. The Fuente Legrand, 12, almost 13,000. 1-3. No, 1,300, 13,000. So this is almost 10 times more. And of course, Fuente is Fuente. They need to create something which is, show them how crazy luxurious they are. They create another one, special edition with the bobblehead marking and everything. And this will be priced on 23,500. Crazy. So, I don't know. Those money, Dexter says, I mean, it's ridiculous prices, but they will be market. Of course, they will be market. I believe for everything existing in the world, there's a market. There's at least one person who can buy any product in the market in the world. We've seen it with cars, with watches, with trainers. Why not with lighters? But it's getting ridiculous. Sometimes I'm thinking, when those expensive companies creating that kind of stuff, I think they're taking a piss. Somebody random says, "Oh, we used to sell this for $1,000. Let's create a limited edition which will cost $2,000. Okay, sold out. Next limited edition, you know what? We sold out for $2,000. Let's create another one for $3,000. There will be idiots which will buy it. Sold out. Okay, let's create another one for $5,000. Sold out. And carry on. So I think this type of, marketing project managers, people who creating these projects, they always try to, okay, let's create something better. 20,000. They will sell it out. I'm pretty sure 88 lighters. Half of the shop owners in the States who are massive Fuente fans, they will buy those lighters. They might not sell them. They'll keep them in the shop to show them off. And next release, in 5 years' time, something will happen with Fuente. They will have some new cigar or whatever. They will do another collaboration, and bang on, there will be 50,000. Why not? Crazy. I was talking earlier with a friend of mine about those lighters, and he was like, "Oh, but you're gonna be happy if they give you one, yeah?" I say, "Not really. Why would I carry a lighter for 10,000 or 5,000? I won't. I will probably straight away sell it to some numpty who can give me at least three-quarter of the money, and I'm gonna use the money accordingly. I'm not gonna walk with lighter for 5,000 in my pocket. There's no way I can do that. I don't care how good looking it's whatever. It's just no chance. I want to see now if the Chinese came up with the copies, because China so far managed to copy everything DuPont release, even some of the fancy stuff. And I want to see now if the Chinese bring out the copies, which will cost 50 times less, maybe even 100 times less than the original one. And some of the copies are actually quite good. You know, I was looking at some of the copies made in China for Legrand and Line 2. They are very, very good. If you don't look at the number on the bottom and just check the number, you know, verify the number, you couldn't tell that's not real DuPont. Looks like the DuPont. The flink is there. The quality is really nice. The weight is exactly the same as the original ones. Just the only thing given up is the number. And I think it's a matter of time the Chinese to manage to copy the numbers correct, not using the same number. As I don't know why they keep using the same number, which everyone knows it's a fake. But yeah. Okay. Those are the release newses. Let's talk about something else in the news section. You know, I always says I respect always when people do reviews and everything. I don't agree always with all the reviews. I very rarely comment reviews, even if people text me and hey, what do you think about this? Yeah, I'll give my opinion, and sometimes they are like, yeah, but how feel this is give this or that or this or Coop or anyone. I'll say, look, they can score whatever they want. I mean, this their smoking is their palate. So who knows? So on this one, on the point of the reviews, there's a review I read about it. I don't want to comment that much on the final score, but I want to comment on something else. But before that, if someone asks a question, I'll answer because I'll forget later. Ali asked, "What's my opinion on the new Defi windproof?" Look, I'm not a DuPont guy. I'm not a lighter guy. You know, my favorite lighters are those plastic, ugly looking, which are always reliable. I can lit 20 cigars with one of those without a light, putting more gas. No matter what wind, rain, drop it, kick it, whatever. Someone in the airport still, because I was traveling a couple of weeks ago, and they confiscated one of my lighters. Even if it was all right, there was no gas in there. It was empty lighter. They confiscated. It was Zippo. Okay, I give them only the insert, but they want to take it over. And it's like, this is not even a petrol Zippo. It's just an insert with the butane, and it's the same lighter as single jet. It's nothing different than the standard jet lighters. But yeah, they confiscated. And I have another occasion. I was traveling back from Dortmund, and I have this project with Chinese people working on a lighter. So they give me 8-9 different lighters, all of them brand new, no gas in them. They never been lit, never have anything inside. They were all in my suitcase, in my check-in luggage, not in my hand luggage. I have one in my hand luggage, and the rest were in the check-in luggage. So they opened my check-in luggage and they confiscate them all. No gas in them, nothing. Brand new lighters. I have a project to work with to do with those Chinese guys, and they confiscate them all. So that's why I don't care that much about lighters, honestly. I don't think I've used the DuPont Defi Windproof. If you guys like it, yeah, with the DuPont, I don't know. I don't want to say negative or positive stuff. I haven't used it. My main issue with DuPont is more or less you need to use their own gas, which is expensive. You know, I can buy a bottle of Zyker, standard bottle of Zyker gas butane, which would cost me like £5. DuPont asks £20 for that kind of size, 20 cl or something, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's a gas. Okay, even if you want to buy more pure gas, because apparently the DuPont recommend using their pure butane. There's a couple of companies do almost 100% purity on the butane they sell, and it's like 8 quid, even that. But yeah, about lighters, I don't have much of opinion. I just look at the price. When I see something ridiculous as a price, and it's just, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. Right, back on the reviews. So the colleagues from the gents from Half Wheel uh, released a very interesting, and this was Patrick, which is not even the most critic one. Patrick smoked recently Davidoff Year of the Chef, the new edition, which was being released a month ago. So the score, again, I don't want to comment the score. It was mid-level for them. I think they give like 87, which is kind of all right for most of the cigars. But the thing here is what make me bring my attention. So Half Full, they usually smoke 3 cigars from each type. They always weigh them, they measure the size and everything, and they put the variation. So in this case, they also weigh them and measure them. The cigar officially listed a 6.25 by 52. So the length was pretty much spot on. The ring age of the 3 cigars they smoke, one of them was 52. Other one was 52.5, which is all right. The third one was 49.5. I mean, this is massive difference. It's a big variation between 52. Okay, 52.5 or 51.5. I would say it's all right. But when you have that massive difference, shrunk cigar, it's massive. And also the weight. The more I smoke and review cigars, the more I think is important the weight of the cigar. Even 1 or 2 grams, a massive difference. You know, I don't know if you guys. I mean, sometimes try if you buy a box and weight the cigars. If you have that kind of scale, small scale, which you can weight by grams and milligrams, weight all the cigars from the box and try to smoke the lightest one and the heavier one after another. Maybe in a couple of days if you don't want to smoke them in one session, and you see the difference, especially if you have like a gram or two differences. And in this case, the difference between the lightest one from those cigars was 14.04 grams. The heaviest one was 19.16 grams. So we're talking about just over 5 grams difference, which is huge. I mean, there's a Petit Panatellas which weight about 6 grams. So you have one short Petit Panatella difference. It's a very big difference between those 2 cigars. And for me, this coming from Davidoff, which is known for their quality control, 600 steps, etc., whatever, all those kind of measurements they do, and to release a special release cigar. This is not a standard production. Let's say one of the Robusto Anniversario, or I don't know, Davidoff 2000 or something. This is a Year of the Chef's edition. Super fancy cigar, super expensive cigar, and to miss this kind of problem, for me, it's a very, very big issue for them. Whoever is responsible for that, you should probably take responsibility, and it's not okay. You can't release cigars with 5 grams difference on the same size from the same box. It just doesn't work. Even if you lift it, you will see there's a massive difference. So whoever passed the quality control, he probably, picked them hands by hand, cigar by cigar by hand, and how you didn't realize this is like way too less heavy a cigar than the other one. So I don't know. It doesn't. And the third cigar in the bunch was 17 grams, so that was in the middle. So 3 cigars, each with 2-3 grams difference. Not a chance this is been checked and did a proper quality control. Anyway, last piece of news. We carry on with the news news around Trump and the tariffs he announced him. So last week he came with a new 20. He wants to start talking now with his ministers to eventually raise the tariffs to Nicaragua with 100%, which will be expensive. But his issues now is there's a report that Nicaragua were using child labor in some of their industries, predominantly in the textile industry, clothes and stuff. And Nicaragua is a very big producing country in the clothing industry. They slightly mentioned child labor being used in the fields, in agriculture, including tobacco. They didn't mention cigars at all, but they mentioned tobacco. On this occasion, I will agree with Trump. I mean, there shouldn't be kids which been used for labor. But on the other side, it's a little bit, I don't know, it's a topic which probably will be need more depth in conversation. But I started working when I was 15. No one forced me, but I want to earn extra money. And 15 is still considered as a child. So yes, I started working when I was 15. Obviously no insurance and no that kind of stuff, but I just want to earn some money, some extra cash money. I mean, I'm not from a very rich background or anything, and my family didn't have endless support of cash they can give me for whatever I want. My only option was to start working around and make some extra money so to be able to buy whatever I want. So my question is, if this child labor is voluntary, if the kids wants to earn money to help their families, and Nicaragua is a poor country, and if it's not, I mean, if it's like in slave situation, you need to work when you're 14, yeah, that's wrong. But if it's all those kids doing it by themselves, they want to do it, why would you stop them? I mean, I'm not saying that you need to go and work super heavy work, but if you can work like few hours a day, earn some extra cash after school, or even leave school early and work, why not? It's a little bit weird situation, so I understand probably a little bit why Trump is pissed off. Child labor, more of a dictatorship, etc., etc. But most of the time, those kids they want to work, and if they don't have any other option to progress and make money, no one giving money, yeah, I mean, I don't mind people start working early. And also, the cigar industry is very regulated. I don't think there will be kids working as a slaves in those factories and everything. I mean, this is very, very regulated. Most of those owners are Americans or Europeans or foreign people. They're not Nicaraguan native. So, I don't know. And the industry is quite concerned because Trump also threatened to exclude them from the duty-free zone, which will cause even more issues because it won't be only double the prices, it will be much more. They need to pay duties and everything, so the price will go crazy. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this one, and eventually we'll follow it. Right. I think this was the news section tonight. This was all the news I want to talk. As I mentioned at the beginning, there's a couple topics I wanna bring on. I want to see what's your opinion. My cigar started burning a little bit wonky. That's why I relight it a little bit. So the first of the topics I want to bring on, there was not a war, but heated discussion between a couple of people in the social media, a couple senior media people, influencers slash. So not long ago, Jassim, I believe you all know Jassim, he posted a little bit of a controversial video where he was talking about against the ladies who smoke, the females who, for his opinion, most of the girls who smoke, they're just there to show off tits and maybe gain some free gifts, cigars, etc., travels. And he pretty much slugged almost everyone under the same name. He posted shorts from different social media accounts, reels, videos, where, to be honest, half of those girls on those in that video, they were very decent people. I know pretty much most of them personally, and I can guarantee most of them are not there to showing off and getting presents and stuff. There are some of those which do that, but you can't just like all the ladies like that. And in response of his video, Cigar Inspector and Usman post a direct controversial video about Jassim. How basically he started with pretty much the same idea. He was posting naked in his bathroom, in his bathtub, smoking cigars, showing off half of his body, etc., etc. Also, his he gained popularity mostly with his look, with his suits and how he's dressed like English gentleman, and even if it's nothing to do with England. So yeah, it was an open war between both of them. They've been in some different podcasts. I think Jassim hid the video he originally posted. He came last week on another podcast. He kind of apologized, but I don't think it was actually real. It was just he stole the heat, and he came up there. It was very interesting. I brought it in because it's always there always will be the discussion between those two. So that's why I want to see what's your opinion. I mean, my opinion is look at your thing. Why you should go and separate by genders? Maybe his culture is different, but don't do it. We always says if you smoke cigars, you shouldn't be separated by gender, by religion, by race, by clothes, by pocket, by wallet, or whatever. We all smoke cigars, and this type of heat coming to our industry is not nice. So Epicurean, thanks for the comment. It says Justin was a clothing model. He's the same with what he's saying regarding women. Yeah, that's what brought the Cigar Inspector on. You know, he was literally, Usman was very clear and says, you know, you can say whatever you want, but if you're literally doing the same thing, why you need to expose that? So don't be this guy. You know, if you're someone who don't have any exposure, you want to create some name or something, yeah, but literally he's doing exactly the same thing, clothing model, and then says the ladies are the same thing. Yeah, okay, you are hombre of Habanos, but that doesn't make you like you are in you know, you are invisible or something like that. And as Epicurean says, it's a worldwide stage, so there's a cultures everywhere. I mean, don't go there. It's a deep hole, and there's a. It was mentioned it's a quick way to get cancelled. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there will be much repercussions for Jassim, but it wasn't nice what he did, and I believe he lost quite a few of his not followers, but people who maybe sympathize him and they like what he's doing. Maybe lost some integrity in that case as well. It definitely will be interesting to follow what's happening between them two. Again, I never have a super high an opinion of him. I respect him for that what he's doing for the industry. For me, I always firm believer the more noise you make in the industry, the better. We're an industry which is very highly regulated. But if you're gonna do that kind of noise, it's not correct for the inside of the industry. I always support and try to help as much as I can all the ladies aficionados groups and stuff. Even if I don't want to be separated, they separate themselves sometimes. When I was in retail, I was one of the first people in UK which was hosting ladies' nights only. So I bring only ladies so they can be more approachable, more of a relaxed situation where there's no random guys and dudes staring over them how they smoke and stuff. Because I mean, cigar smoking is still, at least in Europe, very man's world. Even if everyone says opposite, it's still very focused around men's. And I don't think this will change anytime soon. There's a lots of people trying to change it. There's a lots of ideas, but still, you go to a lounge, anywhere in Europe. I can't speak of the US. I've seen lots of people says there's a lounges where more ladies go in there, but in Europe, you go to any other lounge in doesn't matter the country. 90% of the smokers in the lounge will be men's. 90% of the people who buy cigars for to smoke, they will be men's. It doesn't matter what the people says. Somebody might say, "Oh no, we serve only women's or ladies." I doubt. Um, I hope the situation will change. But with the people like Justin, I doubt. People like him who have massive followership, they should completely think and do opposite. Just popularize it. Nothing wrong. Um, and there's a lot of ladies who are super knowledgeable. Sometimes maybe he felt insecure when he talked with some knowledgeable lady about cigars, and he was like, "How she know more than me? I'm a hombre of Habano, etc." Blah blah blah. I don't know. It's an interesting topic. I'm definitely going to follow and see what's going to happen there. What will develop. But my opinion is he was wrong in this situation. Maybe with his apology and maybe further apologies in the future, videos and stuff, he will manage to fix the what he break. But we'll see. Time will show. And another topic I want to bring in, this is more towards the American people and the people in the US or Canada and US. Yes, a couple of days ago, I think Cigar Coop posted an article how the cigar media is in a big crisis at the moment, probably the biggest crisis ever. And he posted in a few different outlets, social media. There was a lots of comments. I comment on a few of them, and I told him I don't agree with you. My personal opinion is I think we're actually in a very good position as a cigar medias around the world. He was focusing on a couple of medias which shut down in the US. So one of them which has been on the market for like 10 years, and it says there's no integrity, lots of new people who just start YouTube channels to do reviews and ask for free stuff from brands. And this always been there, and I don't think this will stop ever, but I think there's so many new channels and new people doing stuff in the social media, in Instagram, in Facebook, in YouTube, which every one of them can bring to the table. I mean, I can probably put myself here. I'm also new as a cigar media. I don't class myself as a media. I'm more of a blogger who just in his free time talk nonsense and talk about different stuff. I don't think I'm bringing something very new to the table. I just my view. I've been involved with the social media for lots of years. But you can't say this is a crisis. And I think the more noise we make, the more of people like myself. I think Epicure have a nice channel. There's a bunch of other people who also have a nice channels. The more noise we make, the better. I mean, the more put it out there in the social medias, in different channels, the all those people who try to ban and stop the smoking, they will realize there's actually community there. Why we should kill this community? We shouldn't. And Epicure make a nice comment. The Coop been around for years. He's very strong opinions over the last couple of years, hating a small influencers for no reason. Maybe he doesn't like when people get things more than his. But look, it's in this world. If you don't change, if you don't follow the trends and stuff, you're gonna go down. It's happening with lots of people, and if you don't change, if you don't do something different, you're going down. And honestly, Cigar Coop, I haven't seen him doing lots of new stuff and new changing the formats on whatever he's doing or whatever. And the guys on his channel, on his lives, he's sponsored from Perdomo. I mean, okay, he was sponsored with some of the bigger brands, Alec Bradley, Perdomo, etc. One of the guys commenting there was what was his name? I forgot his name. He's from Two Cigar Guys. They also have a podcast and media, and he's the guy who gave like 100 points on Atabey, and they're the distributor of Atabey. So how that make you with better integrity than the others? If you distribute a cigar and you give the cigar 100 points, I mean, I do reviews, but all the cigars I smoked, I can speak for myself. All the cigars I smoked, none of those cigars was given to me from someone. I bought them on or I have them. I don't. If I do business with the people, I don't do talk about their products. I don't do their reviews and everything. So exactly, as Epicurean says, his style and presentation and everything, it doesn't really change. I mean, take Halfwell, which for me are the biggest, and I don't think anyone going anywhere near close them. They changed their style so many times. Even in the reviews, they were one of the first implementing weight and measurements, and they changing so much stuff. It's not only the reviews, the consensus they do, cigars of the year at the end of the year. They changing so many stuff through the years. If you look at Halfwell 10 years ago, even the look at the reviews when they started back in 2010, 8, 29, 20, 2008, 2009, the style of the reviews is very different. They evolve. But Coop, I'm sorry, but I don't think he evolved somehow. He's a very opinionated person, which is fine. I also have my opinions for lots of stuff, but don't just come out there and says the cigar industry is in a big crisis. The cigar media in the cigar industry is in a big crisis. No, it's not. Maybe in the US, some people struggle, but I think out of the US, we actually in a very big boom. There's so many new channels, and again, there's always will be a big percentage which doesn't make any sense. People maybe wants only free swags. It's every industry is like that. So many people make phones, cars, watches, trainers. Are they all Nike? Are they all Rolex? Are they all Ferrari? Well, no, but they have their own view, and the bigger industry look, the better. So I don't know. I just want to bring it on and see what you're thinking, guys. And I'm happy Epicurean is back me up here. And again, this is another person who have a YouTube channel. If you haven't looked at his channel, is pretty damn good. You know, I'm jealous on some of the stuff you're doing, but it is what it is. Right. Today was a lot of ranting. I think lots of interesting topics I brought in, but it's been one of those shows where when I have a voice to talk about it, I want to talk about it. I want to bring it on, and I want to see what's your opinion. Right. Now is time for a little bit of cigars from my collection. In the meantime, if you want to throw some comments on any of the topics I brought in, just feel free. I think he might be concerned about the dilution of the available cigar media. I have to justify sponsorship if the next guy will do it for free cigars. Of course. I mean, you want to make money from the cigar media, there's a ways. But if someone will do it, there always will be someone who will do it for less money or for free. I'll do it for free. I'm not sponsored from anyone. No one pay me for any of those stuff I'm talking about. I'm posting about it, the articles about it. I have an idea in the future if someone wants to sponsor me, how to separate that content, and I think I can do it. But so far, nothing being sponsored by anyone, not even the topics or the reviews. And again, I smoke all kind of different stuff. That's why in my reviews, if you see, I put the age on the cigar, and most of the cigars are quite old. I mean, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I just don't buy new cigars that often, and I don't smoke new cigars that often. You know, I don't smoke the cigars I work with. Even if there's a couple projects working with different brands and company, I always says I'm not gonna include your cigars in my reviews and everything because it doesn't seem fair. Well, so you wait. Epicurean says it's been a year and a half without any handouts and stuff. So I started a year ago. I still haven't have any, so maybe I'll wait another half year before someone give me free cigars. I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay, it's time to bring on some of the brands and talk about what's in the boxes. The first brand I wanna bring on. Let me just check if there's any other questions before that. There we go. Where we are. I got so many stuff open in my in my computer. Right. So the first brand is probably not that unknown. This is a cigar called Handelsgold. Let me see. My camera is on the corner. Let me go. If you see the band, it's actually very old Handelsgold. Um, there we go. Handelsgold Andre. Handelsgold is a brand. Probably some of you know it and see it. Is one of the those very strong machine-made cigars, flavored cigars. Even my wife is one of the few cigars she like. I don't call them cigars; they're more cigarillos. But they're a very old German brand which start around the 1930s, 1940s. It's been one of the first brands officially start producing and distributing cigars after the sanctions of the Second World War. Nowadays, they predominantly do cigarillos and machine-made cigars. So that one here in my hand is, I'm not sure how old is it. I don't have the box. I have only a few singles of that one. I think it's looking by the band and the shape and everything. I think it's from the 1970s, maybe 80s. Could be older, but I doubt. Standard for that period of time, like short perfecto, ball pin, interesting band, probably short filler Indonesian type of tobacco. But yeah, it's another brand in the collection. The next one, I'll actually will take it out from the cellophane. It's unfortunately Andre is not on the live, but Andre do lots of collaborations and work with this brand, and it's I believe it's one of his favorite brand. So this you can see the cigar. There's no band on the cigar. So this is Hank Maori. There's no band, but I don't know if you can see. There's a laser engraved band on the cigar. I believe Heiko, the guy who owned the brand, was the first person in the world doing that. Let me see if I can show you. There we go. You see the no band, but actually the band is laser engraved. There we go. No ideal. There we go again. Yes. So Heiko is a nice guy. He's a big inventor in the world of all kind of. I mean, he's been in the industry for many years. So this is his own brand. It's quite expensive cigar, but if you do a research, Hank Maori, those are the cigars. This is a big one. The cigar's been produced by AJ Fernandez, and the blender of the cigar is the one and only Didier Hohenhagel. Great guy, great friend. He's the guy behind a very interesting book from soul to seed. It's like the most interesting book about tobacco if you want to go technical and read it. Cigars are pretty decent. Oh yeah, I've smoked all of the sizes. Every time I see Heiko, he give me some, and he's a great friend. I saw him literally a couple of weeks ago, and no, the engraving doesn't weaken the wrapper at all. It cannot tell it's been any damage on the wrapper or anything. He says until he find a way to engrave it, he damaged lots of cigars. But finally, when he find a way to completely engrave it without any problems, any issues, he's using it, and completely no damage on the cigars. I know he do some special releases for some events where he add additional engraving, but he's one of the biggest players with the 3D printing at the moment. He's working on lots of projects with 3D printing boxes, accessories for cigar companies. I think quite a few brands and producers already have contracts with him. So soon you'll see 3D printed boxes for cigars and everything. I think Oscar's planning to release a 3D printed box of the leaves, which look like a treasure chest. Usually it's a wooden box. In some point he's going to use those plastic 3D printed plastic ones. But Heiko is a great guy. He's a character. I am I'm always very intrigued when he's around. He always have some new ideas and new stuff to do, and he also is behind some very nice cigars. Moving on to the next brand. The next brand, it's a very unknown brand. I don't know much about it. There's not much of a research, so the box look like that. I mean, kids on a cigar box. This is very unusual. That's why you can say it's quite an old box. Um, so it says Sol Amor y Tenerife. Basically, Sun, Love, and Tenerife. I believe those are Spanish-made cigars. On the side says El Mulato. And I have only 3 cigars left. I'll show you the inside on the box. Beautiful box. 3 cigars left. I believe those are probably custom made for some customer, because there's additional band says Heinz Henkel, which doesn't mean anything in the cigar industry. I did research so many times, try to find anything. Nothing. The cigar is fully wrapped in a paper, which look like a cedar, but it's not cedar. This is paper with a band on top. And the cigar itself, there we go. The cigar itself don't have any band. It's a short filler, as you can see, nice and oily tobacco as a wrapper. Size-wise is Robusto-ish. Nice 109 cup. And I smoke quite a lot of those. They're alright smokes, nothing complex, nothing too crazy. But it's a very interesting piece. The packaging is very unique. And yeah. And now the next one, this is Henry Winterman. I mean, we are on letter H, and I don't think there's a single person who never smoke a Henry Winterman, especially if you're in Europe. Those are Swiss brands, start beginning of the last century. They start as a family company, then 2 brothers take over, Henry and I forgot his other guy name. Then Henry Winterman took over 30-40 years later. He literally separated and start making those cigars. They're one of the biggest producers of machine-made and that kind of cigars, cigarillos. I believe around 1970s, early 1970s, Henry Winterman was the biggest producers of cigars in the world. I think in 1971, they produced over 500 million machine-made cigars. I mean, this is a big number, even for machine-made, 500 million. So it's 500 million cigars. It's a very big number. Nowadays, they're slightly declined, of course, they're not that much, but they're still very strong with their half coronas and everything. They were very popular even when I was in the shop and in retail. They were still very popular. This one here is called Corona Deluxe. It's one of the more luxurious, if you can call it luxurious, that kind of cigars. But yeah, I would say is a brand which maybe not everyone like. I don't even smoke and like their current stuff, but they have a significance in the history. They've been one of the biggest, one of the most popular brands. So should pay the respect to them. And the next one, the last one for today, this is a brand called Henry Clay. This specific one is called Warhawk. Henry Clay is one of those brands where there's a Cuban brand called Henry Clay, which I believe the Cuban Henry Clay start around 1840s, and they exist until the revolution. After the revolution, they stop existing. But I have some example here. This is a Cuban Henry Clay. This is a pre-revolution Henry Clay. Very similar band. I don't know if you can see it on the focus. Henry Clay Habana, and this is the difference between them. That's why earlier in the show I told you I'm going to show you Cuban and non-Cuban brand. In this case, I think if Henry Clay Cuban not exist anymore, I think it's okay someone else to produce the same brand um, out of Cuba. In this case, it's produced in Honduras, owned by one of the biggest companies, STG, Altus, etc. See the difference in the bands. There was one release of the Henry Clay non-Cuban one, which were made by blended by Pete Johnson. It was very high off and collectible. Unfortunately I don't have any of that left, but basically there's only a few differences on the band. Yeah, it's one of the brands where I don't mind they have copy and they actually continue their legacy. My problem is only with the existing brands where they're still existing, they haven't stopped producing, and someone just took their name and decided to produce cigars with the same name. And actually, Henry Clay I think, is an English American guy. They use his name to commemorate him and stuff, so it's fair Americans to use it back and do it in America. Not like it's been done in America, but it's an American company. Right. It's been well over 9 o'clock. I think the show was interesting tonight. Not lots of people in the watching views and stuff, but hey, I'm not a cigar coop or half wheel. I do what I can do. Next week will be 3rd of November. We are scheduled to be on time at 8 o'clock. In the meantime, look at the cigar news. There might be an announcement, interesting announcement, but you will see. You will know what I'm talking about when you see it. I don't want to say much more. Quality over quantity. Yeah, of course. Again, I don't mind. I'm very far from idea that I'm going to have millions of people watching and listen. I'm very happy of my current audience and all of you guys. In the meantime, I can carry on producing and posting stuff about different topics. The website is still going on. The reviews are still going on. I keep trying different cigars and put it out for you. Still no one sent me a cigars to smoke, but as the Epicurean says, you need to wait a year and a half. So maybe in a few months, someone will send me cigars to review. That would be weird because I don't do that usually. But yeah, in the meantime, if you have any comments, any suggestions, anything on even the people who watch after the live, if you want to put your comment towards some of the topics I mentioned, what's your opinion on them, please feel free. I won't judge. I will try to respond once I see him. And yeah, smoke your cigars. Tomorrow's never given. It's almost end of the year. There's a couple more shows before we start talking about the best cigars we smoked and we've seen and all the comments around. And I hope I'll see you all in a week time. Same channel, The Late Smoke with Mireille, 3rd of November, 8 p.m. UK time. In the meantime, you know what to do. Follow, like, comment, whatever you want. Even dislike, it's fine. And yeah, smoke your cigars. I'll see you all next week and have a wonderful week and have a great evening. See you all next week.